Hello everyone, this is AJ. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Batman Before. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about Batman Forever, the third in the 1980s, 1990s era of Batman film. Yes, so Batman Forever, this film was released in 1995 in the United States. It was released on June the 16th, 1995 to a record-breaking $52.2 million opening weekend, which was massive for the film. Here in the UK, it was released to us on July 14th, so a month later. Yeah, those things don't happen anymore. The film was rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute. Tim Burton didn't return to the director's chair. Directing was handed over to Joel Schumacher, who was an accomplished director. He'd recently directed films like Falling Down with Michael Douglas 2 years prior, and also the hit film from 1987, The Lost Boys. So he had a fantastic pedigree to be stepping into this director's chair. With the non-returning Tim Burton, Michael Keaton decided to drop out of the run-ins for this film. The reins of the Batman were passed on to Val Kilmer. And Val Kilmer was joined on screen by Jim Carrey in the role of Edward Nygma, or the Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones as Harvey Two-Face Dent, Chris O'Donnell joined proceedings as Dick Grayson, aka Robin, and Nicole Kidman was the love interest in this film as Chase Meridian. Yes, now this film had a budget of $100 million and went on to get a worldwide gross of just shy of $337 million. Yes, so a big hit for Warner Brothers. They were very pleased. Now, along with a new director came a new vision, a new aesthetic to the film. Gone was the darkness, the grittiness, the gothic feel of the previous two Batman films, and we had more of a neon-centric kind of city. There was a little bit of that darkness and that gothic style carried over, but for the most part you had neon colours, a lot more brightness, and it started edging into the campness of the character. Now, story-wise for this film, again you have Bruce Wayne, Batman, there doing what he does, and we have this elaborate scheme thought up by Jim Carrey's Edward Nygma after he gets shunned by Bruce Wayne. He's created this technology that sucks on people's minds, so to speak, and he utilises it, and it makes him somewhat smarter, and he joins up with Two-Face, who's already an existing villain at the start of the film. We see in flashback what's happened to him, and we get this elaborate scheme of sucking people's minds dry throughout the city, getting this thing in everyone's homes that looks like a blender, and draining them of their mind power, so Enigma can become smarter and smarter and smarter and this sort of thing, and it's up to Batman to stop this from occurring, all while having this on-off love interest with Chase Meridian, who's a psychologist who wants to get inside the mind of the Batman and see what makes him tick. Yeah, so again, very much a film about the villains, and that's where the story centres around, with Batman sort of being a bit player in his own film in the sense of the narrative of the story. He's there and he's just got to fight the villains. End of story. So yeah, so for me, this film, 1995, let me think back. I remember it. What I remember about 1995 in this movie is that I was very much looking forward to the release of Judge Dredd, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd, and I wanted that film to clean up at the box office. What I think it was that we'd already had two Batman films, so Batman wasn't overly fresh because this was the third one, and generally when you think back to like Superman, third ones kind of dropped the ball and this sort of thing. But you had Judge Dredd on the horizon, and I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. Judge Dredd looked fantastic in its trailers. It looked superb, and the film does look superb to this day. The world of Mega City 1 is fully fleshed out. It's just fantastic looking. And what that film got wrong was the character of Dredd. But anyway, that's another story. We're talking about Batman Forever. So I wasn't overly eager about this. Obviously, also, I wasn't too happy that Michael Keaton wasn't returning to the role. Yes, we had Val Kilmer. Now, I'm not a fan of Val Kilmer. I actually dislike Val Kilmer. So it didn't sit right for me that Val Kilmer was Batman for these sort of prejudiced reasons that I had, these biased reasons that I had against the actor. I don't know, he's just not my cup of tea. I don't enjoy anything that he's done, anything he's been in. And thusly, there you go. Jim Carrey is the Riddler. You know, I can't sanction Jim Carrey's buffoonery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so Jim Carrey as the Riddler, he wasn't who I wanted to see it as the Riddler. Now, Jim Carrey was a massive actor at the time. He just made it big a couple of years beforehand with The Mask and Ace Ventura. And so, you know, he was a big, massive box office draw, and I understand Warner Brothers thinking of getting him into the role of Riddler, Edward Nygma. But for me, again, I didn't want to see Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I wanted the Riddler to be somewhat darker, not so sort of Looney Tune and Jim Carrey like he's on speed. I would love to have seen Robin Williams cast as the Riddler, play it somewhat darker and meaner. Yes. Now, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. I love Tommy Lee Jones as an actor. I think he's fabulous. However, in this film, I don't know whether he was just directed badly by Joel Schumacher, or whether Joel Schumacher just gave him free rein, because you don't get none of this dual personality that Two-Face has. You don't get any of that. Two-Face is running around. It's like it's like Tommy Lee Jones is trying to keep up with Jim Carrey. It's like Tommy Lee Jones is trying to do a second-rate Joker. You know, he's not Two-Face. He's not Harvey Dent. It just failed in that sense. Chris O'Donnell, another actor I don't particularly care for. I felt he was too old for the role of Robin. You know, how can I believe that this guy is, you know, a young child that needs to be looked after, needs to be someone's, you know, that needs to be someone's ward, this sort of a thing. It's just nonsense. Nicole Kidman, Chase Meridian. I was up for that casting. She looks fabulous in the film. I can't knock her. She, you know, she just oozes in every scene she's in. She's very, very good in the film. So for me, the casting of the film just didn't work. I didn't like that aspect of the film. Now, let's go on to some of the designs. Batman costume was fine. It kind of sort of took away from and stepped back from that second film sort of armour kind of effect, and sort of almost went back to the first film style in a sense. This was the film that introduced the bat nipples. Now, Batman and Robin gets a lot of flack for it. Oh, bat nipples, bat. This is the film that done it. This is the film that started it. If you didn't have this film, you wouldn't have had that film. So this is where this stuff all began, yes. And I know it's ramped up a little bit in the next one, but if you didn't have this one, you wouldn't have had that. So there you go. The Batmobile design, not a fan of it. Not a fan of this Batmobile. It looked like it would break at any moment because those wings on it just sort of flap around. You know, ludicrousness. And yeah, so the design of the Batmobile for me just doesn't hold up and work. Another aspect of this film that I don't enjoy is the circus stuff. Now, I don't like circuses. I don't like films set in circuses. Dumbo I have issue with. I switched off Nightmare Alley the other day. I think the only film I like with a bit of circus in it is Tim Burton's Big Fish with Ewan McGregor. It's the only one I can handle. But yes, so that kind of thing just bores me. You know, I can't really think. I watched this film on 4K because I've got all the Batman films on 4K, right? But this, I just couldn't. I wanted to switch it off. I wanted to switch it off when I'd done it on a rewatch the other day. I struggled with this film. It's mind blowing what this film brings out in me. I don't enjoy it at all. I think the story is stupid. You know, there's no sense of of time passing where all of a sudden Edward Nygma's created these you know, these blenders that, and then everyone's got them in their houses, just like this sort of a thing. Just stupidness. So yeah, even the soundtrack to the film, I can't think of, I can't really picture it. I can't think of it. Nothing came away from me from the soundtrack, from the score. Yeah, so the music was composed by Elliot Goldenthal in this film, and I just came away with nothing from it. So yeah, so this is a funny Batman film for me. I know at the time, I remember all the hype and people loved it, but I think over time people have come to dislike it more and more, to be honest. But that's just my opinion and my take on the film. Now, interestingly, this is the first Batman film that didn't use the title Batman in the opening credits. It's literally just a logo and the word forever coming up on the screen. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to do a ranking of all these Batman films at some point in the near future within this series. We will get to it, so you will see my complete ranking. But you can probably figure it out from if you watch all the reviews in depth anyway. So, but I will be doing it, obviously. But anyway, so that's just a little rant about this film, Batman Forever. Yeah, just I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't. You know, it's a halfway film between this and from Batman Returns and Batman and Robin, obviously. It keeps that gothic feel slightly, but is also stepping into the territory of campness, of sort of heading back to Adam West's 1966 Batman series and film. But yeah, so anyway, that was it. That's my thoughts. Now, if you come back tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about Batman and Robin. Yes, the much maligned, hated Batman and Robin. I'll give you my reviews on that film. And then I'm going to take a break from the films the day after, and I'm going to take a look at some books that I've got, just to mix things up a little bit before we get into the Dark Knight trilogy. A series of books that I have for these 4 films, this film series. Anyway, this is AJ. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care all. Goodbye. Hit that subscribe button.